Hi everybody, welcome to Leaderboard Esports. I'm Judy Jetset.
And I am Jim Basco.
And Jimmy, did you see Ninja in Vegas with that tournament for charity?
Yeah, I actually caught a couple of clips of that, so it was pretty cool.
Not only you, but 667,000 people watched that. Oof. Ninja broke another record on his own Twitch stream.
Just another day for Ninja, right?
Light work. But I mean, that was colossal. It was pretty incredible to see. This is, I actually think, the closest thing we've seen to Fortnite Esports.
Yeah, I think
Battle Royale Esports.
Like the first tournament of Fortnite that we're actually getting.
For actual money. Like, isn't this amazing? Like, we were talking about it. We've been talking about it for months. Like, could Fortnite be an esport? Could they do it? And I think they did it.
Yeah, I think they did it. I want to say they did it, but, you know, once again, like, with Battle Royale style of games, we run into such a weird gauntlet of problems, and I want them to make it fair for the boys, everyone that plays. Like TSM Myth, we're watching you, man. Oh, that was so unlucky.
I mean, I get it. Okay, we can get to Myth later because I really think it's important that we drill down what exactly happened because Fortnite is a unique game. We all know this. And the way they did this, I think, was actually pretty masterful. They went through 3 heats. So in each heat, 75 players participated in a 3-game series. And then there were these bounties on Ninja's head, obviously because he was a host, and every time that Ninja got killed, the killer got $2,500. Yeah. And then every time Ninja won, he gave $2,500 to charity, right? And then there was, I think, another thing. Every time someone won, that person
also get that $2,500.
Right, and like, apparently a lot of people showed up and you could pay to be a part of it. Like you paid like a...
I have to admit, that's crazy.
That's so sick because you had like pro players obviously invited to play, but then you also had people like in the crowd going in and participating. There were even some crazy like unknown winners, like that one guy Blind. He won twice. He won 2 games in a row. And what was the one with that 14-year-old kid?
Out of nowhere getting that kill onto Ninja, like what?
So good, dude. Yeah. That little kid stepping up on stage. I just think this was so good for esports.
I think it's great for esports, but it's gonna sound super pessimistic and negative, but going forward for Fortnite esports, for competition's sake, I think they're gonna have to tinker with either the game a little bit or the format before we finally see like a real fair playing ground for those 100 people or 75 that they're gonna have per match, because you know otherwise, like, what if you land somewhere and there's no guns?
Jimmy, okay, wait, okay, pause. Let's step back because we're arguing 2 different things right now. Do you think that event over the weekend was that esports for you?
Yeah, I think definitely it was esports because there was a competitive nature involved. It was a electronic video game, you know, and it was on a stage with influencer streamers, so yes.
Okay, why do you not think that this is the future?
Oh man, okay, that's a loaded question, but I have a couple good answers for you, okay? So I think, you know, predominantly, number one, like that was centered around Ninja, and I think, you know, moving forward, if you want an esports scene, like, yeah, you're gonna have to foster like good talent, you're gonna have to attract people. I think the way you do that is by giving like equal exposure, not even equal exposure, or just keep your eyes peeled for people that are popping off maybe, but not having it centered around.
Yeah, I don't disagree that, the Ninja show clearly doesn't have much longevity as an esport. As great of an entertainer as Ninja can be, I don't think that he is the backbone of Fortnite, right? But I do think that we've already seen stuff like this. We've already seen, you know, major tournaments that let a bunch of people in, no matter how skilled you are, and, you know, you run your gauntlet as far as you can, and breakout stories can happen, and really awesome things can happen. And it hasn't been in Overwatch. It hasn't really been in League. You can kind of argue that it has, but I've seen it in the fighting game community. I've seen it in Melee. Melee has amazing stories. They have myths about their players. They have legends. They have the 5 gods. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't make that kind of storyline without having this kind of open, it's not a free-for-all, but like it's an open, people carve their own paths. Right. And if you are meant to be on screen, I kind of think that you will be, you know, because the current popular players, the pros, will get their stream time, but not everybody will. Yeah. And not even all the pros will, right? Yeah. So you have to focus on one thing unless you earn it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you there because I think, you know, moving forward for these competitions, like you mentioned, you're going to have to earn it to get that screen time. And I think absolutely, if you're getting kills, if you're, you know, doing well, you should get the attention that you deserve. Once again, not have it centered around Ninja because it's like, I don't want to sound like so negative, but it's like it was for a good cause, and the guy's cool, you know, the game's fun.
Right, and like the Make-A-Wish kid,
yeah,
like that was dope.
Super sweet. But it's like for competition's sake, like real competition, you're gonna have to.
Sake.
Yeah, for esports' sake, you're gonna have to open things up. I definitely think so.
And you totally can. Yeah. I think Fortnite is one of those games that it allows people to craft their own story. Just there are so many decisions that you have to take, especially as a 1v1, you know, ad nauseum game. In that format, they had 75 people per game, right? And that's not the usual 100 that they have, right? So there's so much opportunity for people to kind of carve their own destiny. And that's what I think is really cool about Fortnite as a concept, Battle Royale games in general, and what they did with this tournament. Yeah, but like, once again, you know, talking about the competitive nature of the game, like going forward as an esports, I think what's really important for them to drill down their stance on is what they feel about the variables found in the game. You know what I mean? Because once again, like you can be one of the best players in the world. Like I want to bring it up, TSM Myth, you know, undisputably one of the highest ranking Fortnite players. He pulls in a bunch of Twitch viewers. He's rolling in dough right now, basically. And we expected a lot of him coming into that game. And yeah, it was unfortunate he got a bug and he kind of fell, but like, what is that? Like, like with these variables in the game, does it become a measure of skill or a measure of who got the luckiest? Like who the RNG gods blessed, you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, so I don't disagree that like the RNG element is kind of frustrating when it comes to shows of skill. But I think that I think the way, there are multiple ways you can tackle this, right? I'm not a game designer by any means. I'm not trying to balance Fortnite. But I think even off the dome, I can think of, you know, change the format so that you have multiple games, right? Weren't we talking about that like a couple months ago where like over the course of multiple games in a row, basically the better players just do better on average, right? So you could have that. You can have the format include multiple games in a row so it kind of balances out the RNG factor. You could also have maybe a limit to the RNG, right? RNG is clearly a fault. You can. It's very hard to be truly random with programming, right? So maybe people can actually drill down and know what the percentages are and figure out that based on certain things, other things will happen. And then it becomes like an elaborate chess game where you drop and then based on the information you see, oh, this weapon spawned here, that means that there are going to be other weapons or other supplies there. Or maybe because if the flag is on this house, that means that I don't know, the storm eye is going to be correctly. Yeah, like I think it would be super cool if players actually got that in depth with the game and then we discover that the skill ceiling is actually much higher than we thought. I want that to happen. I want it to happen, but this is where I'm apprehensive because I don't want to say that I don't think it'll happen because I want to be hopeful for this thing, but my apprehension is that the skill curve inherently, which that brings, like that you're gonna have to get over, because if you don't learn that, you're gonna be losing every time at that point. Like that skill curve can just be scary for people, you know what I mean? And I think one of the biggest things about Fortnite and like the newness of this game comes because of its accessibility. Like art style is easy on the eyes, you know what I mean? Game is free to play. Game is very easy to learn, very easy to pick up, very easy to start getting kills and start hearing, you know, good sounding sounds when you hit a headshot or something. Positive reinforcement. Right. And I think by introducing that skill curve, you just take away from this kind of like whimsiness of the game. I mean, yes, I don't disagree that a part of the draw of Fortnite as a game is its accessibility, obviously, and its availability on mobile is an indicator that they're clearly targeting the general audience as opposed to the drill down super skillful audience per se. But I don't think that necessarily is a bad thing. I think we've already seen that this works. Like, look at this event is an example of a successful tournament for money from this game. I think it can only get better as we fine tune it, as we discover what we can drill down and get to the essence of what makes this game competitive, or what could make this game competitive.
Yeah.
And I think that this is like, this opens the door to that conversation. And I think that's really incredible, especially since we all know that esports, that the youth will inherit the earth with this, okay? Maybe I'm speaking as like esports grandma right now, but there are too many 14-year-olds who are way better than me at League of Legends and practically every other game, all right? And it's coming to the point where I have to admit that and understand that maybe esports is not the way I think it's gonna be, or that you think it's gonna be. You know, I think that we can open our eyes to a different kind of esport.
I think we could, but then again, if you want people to take esports seriously, it's got to be an actual competition. So that's what I've got to say. You know, I'm gonna keep my eyes. I want it to work. I like Fortnite. I want them to have good competition, because if they do, if they play their cards right, boom, Epic Games is set. They didn't with Paragon before, and so I'm a little apprehensive, but I want them to do well.
I'm just saying, I want you guys to watch Jimmy stream Fortnite and tell me if he actually is a judge of what's good.
I got you. I got you.
I'm gonna leave it there. No, but honestly, I do agree with what you were saying, the points you were saying about the game kind of inherently being unfair because of the RNG element. And while the event that we saw was awesome, it isn't the pinnacle of esports. It has a long way to go, but I'm kind of excited. Based on what we saw last weekend, I think Fortnite can go some awesome places with esports. So we want to hear from you. Did you watch Ninja in Vegas? Do you play Fortnite? You play Fortnite, we know. But do you think it could be an esport?
And that is the question of the week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Jim Basco.
And I'm Judy Jetset.
All on Leaderboard Esports. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon to become part of our notification squad today to find out when we upload. It's going to be 3 times a week. So if you love content about Overwatch, League of Legends, or esports in general, you're going to want to keep your eyes peeled. We will catch you guys next time.
Thanks for watching.